Hello and welcome to SAP SuccessFactors Stories. My name is Sven Ringling. I'm an SAP HXM advisor at Orbis People in Germany. This is the third part of our story about creating a market of opportunities for our employees using SAP SuccessFactors. In this part 3, we are looking at the talent manager's view of this journey. If you have followed us in the first two parts, you know that what we are looking at is the problem that many employees are looking outside of the organization for development opportunities, growth opportunities. And also many employers actually look outside the organization as well, spending a lot of money on external hires. What we want to achieve is that employees actually look at the internal market first for opportunities. And to achieve this, we want to create a fun marketplace that is just as interesting to explore as this nice market we see here in this picture. In the first two parts of our story, we have followed Catherine Adichie. She is an engineer who's looking for new challenges. And we've seen Ralph Brunert, Catherine's boss, who was supporting her and sponsoring her for her career progress after Catherine successfully covered for him during his holiday as a head of department. So in the final part of this journey, we look at Martin Schulz. He's head of talent, and he is actually looking for a head of department of engineering in the USA. So let's jump right into the system where Martin is already logged in. Martin is responsible for the talent pool executive management, and as we have seen in the second part of our journey, Ralph, Catherine's boss, has nominated her to become part of this talent pool. So you can see Catherine here is part of the talent pool, and she is flagged as ready now, but her status as a member of the talent pool is still pending. This is because our process is defined in a way that somebody in talent management has to approve new members of talent pools. So this is what Martin is doing now. He can also add some notes, and what he does is actually recording that he's doing this based on a phone call with Ralph, Catherine's boss. Because at the end of the day, we are talking a lot about systems here and about data, but communication between human beings is still obviously at the core of what we are doing. So this might already give Martin an idea for the real problem he's facing today. This is that Ben Sherwin, who is a head of department of engineering in the US, has handed in his notice and he needs to find a successor quite quickly. Martin knows that he is looking for somebody with a particular skill set, and one of the usual places to go with that problem is the talent search. Talent search allows you to search for people across a huge range of criteria. So the real challenge is to have the data in the system to make sure that the search actually gets you the results you need. So we've already prepared this search. So he is looking for somebody who is in the right talent pool. He's also looking for somebody with a degree in electrical engineering. He's looking for somebody who is geographically mobile, and he's looking for somebody who speaks English. And one of my favorite search criteria, because it's quite informal, is that he's also looking for a text in the employee profile section of special assignments and projects. And we remember that Catherine has had a project where she worked on a sensor with a technical name of 11X-13. That may look very cryptical, but it will help us a lot to find the right people. If this is a crucial skill for a role, but it's not in our formal competency or skill catalog, which is often the case for rapidly changing technical capabilities, then this is important that we have the opportunity to search based on that criteria. So without further ado, let's start the search. And As this is a demo, right, you may not be very surprised that Catherine Adichie, our hero in our story, is actually coming out top of this search. We can also look at how she is matching with the various search criteria. As always, we want to have more information about Catherine, so it's always easy to click through to wherever we need to go with a view on a certain employee. And Martin is actually interested in her development plan. You may remember from our first part that Catherine was also inspecting her own development plan, and this is basically the same data. That's just a little bit of a different view. Martin's intention was to make sure that she is actually on the leadership development program. But because she had improving leadership skills already as a development goal as part of the performance process, she has already been assigned to the leadership development program. But now Martin needs to look at the person he actually wants to replace, which is Ben Sherwin, and he wants to look at the succession situation in his department. So we can go into succession org chart, which will allow him to search for Ben to begin with, and then see Ben with his whole department, and particularly the successors that are already assigned to Ben. We see here there's just one successor, it's Emma Ward, but the general assumption is that it will take at least 3 years for her to be ready. It's also assigned to a talent pool, but the talent pool will always be quite a generic, so it's a generic top talent pool, and those are not necessarily all engineers. So Martin is actually quite happy to have found another candidate with Catherine, and he's now adding her as a potential successor. So you see when Martin starts adding a successor that there are other suggestions based on talent pools and other data in the system, but some of them may already have been checked. They are not available. They had other career goals, but he will add Catherine as a successor for Ben, and based on the information he has found in his conversation with Ralph, he marks her as being ready now. So obviously, this is not the end of the process. There will be more search, there will be meetings, there will be conversations, but this is how a talent manager can use the data in the system. If the data is in the system, and this means if we actually empower our employees to make sure that they present themselves in the right way as they would on LinkedIn, then this is a great tool for a talent manager to get to the information they need quickly and make decisions based on data rather than based on guesses or based on whom they happen to know already. So, in our journey of empowerment, we have now seen all 3 steps. We have seen the part of the employee, we've seen the part of the line manager, and now we finished with the part of the talent manager. And as we said on this journey, it's important that we have employees in the driver's seat, that they feel that they own their career. Line managers support employees, make sure that they can achieve their career ambitions. And HR is kind of the great architect behind it. They plan and build the roads where we have this journey, and obviously they advise employees and line managers along the way. As for SAP SuccessFactors, we've already seen in the first parts how it adds value for employees and for line managers, and for talent managers or for HR. We can see it adds the visibility and insights to make the right decisions. It does minimize the risk of losing top talent because somebody is just out of sight. And at the end of the day, also important, the system is easy and fun to use because at the end of the day, experience wins. So now that we've seen this journey of Catherine and her line manager and her talent manager, we also want to look at the strategic view, right? Martin Schulz is head of talent at his organization, and he also wants to gain some strategic insights into the talent experience. He wants to understand which impact does talent experience have on the organization, and he wants to find strategic levers to improve the talent experience. And the way he's doing this, he's looking at feedback that has been collected through the Qualtrics employee experience management solution, and he's now getting into a dashboard to get these strategic insights from the Qualtrics solution. This is quite a typical dashboard. We have some information about the response rate, we have some demographic information, and we have the main KPIs we want to focus on. One of them is the Net Promoter Score. The Net Promoter Score basically tells us how likely employees are to recommend our organization as an employer. With something just above zero, it's not brilliant, but it's still okay. At least it's not negative. We also see here an average score about the career and development section of our survey, which tells us that just below 50% of employees see their career and development experience as positive. And because this is something we want to focus on, we have also put as a main indicator the correlation between the career and development experience and our Net Promoter Score. And we see that the statistical correlation is 0.4. That means that there is quite a significant influence of our career and development experience onto the whole Net Promoter Score as our top level KPI. If we want to go a bit into detail, we have this section where all the questions in the career and development section of our survey have been listed, and we see the results for each of those questions. So green means there was a positive answer, red means there was a negative answer, and yellow is a neutral area. And here we have all the questions, and they are sorted in sequence of impact. What does impact mean? Well, what Martin realizes here that the first question here, I feel empowered, has an extremely high correlation with the overall Net Promoter Score. Actually, it's almost 0.8. So that means this is the single most important criteria. If people feel empowered, according to this data, they're extremely likely to promote the organization as an employer. This is obviously where we want to be, but it's not great. So it's about half, a little bit on the positive side with very, very little neutral area. This is always interesting to see that we have a very clean split. People don't sit on the fence. They either think it's great or it's terrible. So we need to explore why are there so many people who find it terrible. What we can do is do a little split by the demographics. For instance, here we have a split by gender. We say we want to look at just for female employees. We get the whole picture for this subgroup for our female colleagues, and we see the Net Promoter Score is actually going negative. And we also see that the result for this question, whether I feel empowered, has changed dramatically. So it's almost 60% of female employees who actually feel disempowered in the organization. Now, this could be really an angle, or should be an angle to look at to improve the situation. Also, we could look at other demographics. Right here, we have people self-identifying as white, where we see it's not a big difference really to the average. Or if we pick like the Asian community, we see that it's kind of disastrous, right? Our Net Promoter Score is going all the way down, and 80% of those colleagues feel disempowered. So there's something in our culture maybe that makes people with an Asian background and that makes female colleagues feel disempowered. Where's this coming from? This is really something we need to address. And as a last tool, based on the data in the dashboard, Martin is looking at insights. The insights tool is kind of doing the work that Martin has been doing in the dashboard manually, automatically powered by intelligence. It shows us these kind of gaps. Where does the data show that certain groups in the organization are outliers in a positive or negative way. So here we are actually looking at the Net Promoter Score. This is the Net Promoter Score question. And the system tells us, which we already know, that it's much better rated with male employees than it is with females. But we also see that we have a lower rating for colleagues from the USA, which in Brazil we seem to do much better. We can do the same with other criteria. So let's look at this criteria that seems to be very important, the empowerment one. And this basically shows us similar picture, that there's a big discrepancy between male and female employees when it comes to the question of empowerment, and that we seem to be doing something well in Brazil, which we seem to be doing something badly in the US. So these are the angles Martin will actually take to the next board meeting. So thank you very much for being with us on this whole three-part journey. If you haven't seen part 1 and part 2 yet, please check on our YouTube channel. Also, if you like this, if you want more of this kind of content, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.